Hey, this is Notser, and this is Untitled. This week we're talking Let's Battle Tour, USS Lexington. I was there, it was awesome. And then also, Wargaming released a ton of information. We've got changes to the US aircraft carriers, we've got a new alternative US cruiser line, we got Roma teased, Premium Roma, Premium Duke of York. There's also a little bit of French battleships finding their way in Super Tester hands. I am not one of them because I'm a community contributor, but I'm not a Super Tester, and I couldn't share that information if I wanted to. But it's exciting. That means they're fairly close to being in the hands of people. Of course, we have the Pan-Asians that need to come, and I can't wait to test that. I only want my internet to be fixed. So yeah, we'll talk about that stuff. But first, let's battle tour USS Lexington, Corpus Christi, Texas. That was this weekend. It was fantastic. I had never been on an aircraft carrier before. And the Lexington, specifically, this is a Essex class aircraft carrier. So the Essex class that is in game right now, that model is pretty much what you should expect the USS Lexington to look like. If it was set up in its World War II era design, this ship served from World War II all the way to 1991 in Desert Storm. So that's a lot of aircraft changeover. We're going from prop planes to massive dual-engine jets. You know, the Tomcat, F-14 Tomcat from Top Gun. That was like my favorite aircraft growing up as a kid. It's so big. It's a dual pilot aircraft, and it's just massive. It's the jet that has the wings that change based on the speed that it wants to go. And it was just so cool being on the ship. Got to see the command deck, got to see everything, and I was just so impressed. But then we have the event itself. Now, I have family that I was visiting, so I didn't show up early enough to hang out with the other community contributors, and I regret that. I was merely, hey, see the family as much as possible and then show up for the event. I come for the event, and I hadn't seen anyone all day, and you know, I was talking to people who weren't actually at the event. They were cheesing it and going to BlizzCon because they can do whatever they want. That's the only bad thing about the whole thing. Blizzard and Wargaming, two companies I love. They both had their events basically back to back right at the same time. This event was supposed to be in September, but Hurricane Harvey kind of screwed it all up. That's just the way it goes, and this was probably the next available weekend that they could schedule. I understand it. But for me, I got to take in all the World of Warcraft, Overwatch, StarCraft, all that information. And then on top of that, Wargaming's releasing brand new changes that are going to be coming soon, and I couldn't get enough of that. But the event itself, tons and tons and tons of players and fans all showed up. There was about 50, 60 PCs set up. You had all of this in the interior hangar, and I had never been in a hangar of a aircraft carrier, and oh my god, it's big. You could fit an entire convention, and that's basically what we did. And it was great. It was great to meet all of you. There were people who were like, hey Notser, I love your content. You have helped me so much, and you know, I appreciate all of the kind words, but you helped yourself. I merely just was interested in sharing any and all tips that I picked up. You went and found the information, and you actively tried to improve, and that's all anyone can ever ask for. There were clan leaders who came up and talking about, you know, how much they're enjoying the game, the clan stuff, appreciate the content. I would want nothing but success for you guys and girls. Those clans. I have to live through you because I don't have time to do the clan battles, and I just appreciate that you're going through this system. It's the first season that they've done it. I was just curious how the spawns work and all that stuff. It was great fun talking to you all. the entire event was unbelievable from my standpoint. It was the first time I had done anything like that as a notable person. I had been to video game conventions and events, but I was just a part of the group, you know, part of the crowd. I had never been someone that people actively seeked to shake my hand or say hello or were really nice, and you all made it fantastic. Now, I didn't have a shirt initially. I didn't really advertise my voice. Oh, this is not. I'm not like that, clearly. I don't go out there trying to get people to pay attention to me. I'm very comfortable just walking around, being this undercover agent of knowledge, seeing all the fun that everyone's having, and just appreciating it. And eventually I find a Wargaming employee. They're wearing red shirts. Let's Battle Tour. Real obvious. And I was like, hey, I'm an influencer. I'm Notser. I do the World of Warship stuff. Is there a shirt or something for me? I was told there was going to be a shirt, so it's easier for people to recognize me. And they're like, oh, okay, we'll go look. Eventually they find my shirt. And I put it on, and then immediately people are like, oh, man. Because you got your name on the back like some athlete or esport guy. And it's great to see people like, oh, hey, Notser, how you doing? I love your content. You do a great job. Appreciate it. There were drinks. There was food. There was great entertainment. Zoop was failing hard at playing all the games and getting wrecked. They should have asked me to do it. No, he did just fine. Unfortunately, these PCs were set up and they didn't turn on all the necessary things, and hopefully this makes them double down on having them enabled by default, like training mode, so the crowd could engage us in one-on-one combat. But, you know, it's part of the charm, right? It was just so wonderful to hear all the stories. Everyone was so polite, so kind. It was fantastic, and I really, really, really appreciate all of you. It means so much that you enjoy the content. I just feel so bad that the internet is the way it is right now, and I absolutely want to make the content the best it possibly can. And I am bugging the hell out of my ISP every single day. I'm trying to get it fixed. I'll probably have to do some sort of compromise with collecting all the footage and trying to focus. A lot of people have told me they really like matchup. They really like how the information was presented. They would like it to be, obviously, more ships, more tiers, more types, but also more wargaming products, because it's just not done by other people. You know, they might compare to one or two other tank, aircraft, ship, and be done with it, but there's so many things to each and every ship, vehicle, aircraft that differentiate them from the others, and it's just a clean way of doing it. It also shows you what these vehicles are known for, you know, hydroacoustic on German destroyers, the really long smoke cooldown, and then the Pan-Asian's going to be the unlimited smoke. As long as you have the charge available, you'll never have a situation where you wouldn't have smoke up. You got the long-range fire support of the Soviet destroyers. You get the mega torpedo damage of the Japanese, and you know, these are all cool, unique characteristics. But in a bubble, sometimes that's just forgotten. And seeing the real stats, oh, okay, well, Soviets have terrible maneuverability, especially the Khabarovsk, because of their absolute gun-focused, destructive, you know, identity. So, I absolutely will be doing way more of that, and I'm just going to have to do it without the stream, pretty much. I use the stream as a way of exploring them, finding the content you want, but also doubling up on that, because that's like having to play every ship in the tier and then taking that 4 or 5 hours. I mean, that's a long time. You might as well double up and stream it so people can enjoy the ride, right? So all of that's going to be addressed. We'll get through this. We'll get through this. So I'm just having a great time. I look forward to covering this content every day, and it gets you so energized to see so many people enjoy you. You know, they're saying your content, but they're like, you know, we just like you. Keep up the good work. What can I say other than thank you? Thank you, thank you, thank you. It means a lot. Now, with all that being said, Wargaming likes to release a lot of information all at once. We've got the U.S. cruiser split. We've got the U.S. aircraft carrier adjustment. We've got the premium Salem. We've got the premium Duke of York. And then we have French battleships starting to show up. So let's start with the U.S. aircraft carriers. I was there. I watched the slides. And I don't know if it came through or what was communicated or what wasn't. But basically, they are not happy with the performance of the U.S. aircraft carriers. Win rate would also suggest that they give up a ton compared to the Japanese. 5%. I think Japanese are like 52, 53, and the Americans are at like 48 on average. That's a big give up, and they need to address it. So their solution is to get rid of the loadouts, because for the Americans, it's really just a side grade. All the loadouts. There's not actually a loadout that stands out as being good, quote unquote. And they're going to have one versatile loadout that's pretty good in pretty much every scenario. And they'll just scale it up as you go up the tier. So you had the Bogue at 111. And then the next aircraft carrier in the line would have a 111, but an upgraded dive bomber. And then the next aircraft carrier would have a 112. The one after that, 112 with an upgrade dive bomber. You get the idea. So they'll slowly add another aircraft squadron to the aircraft carrier line, and then the following would have just an upgrade that would make the next tier stand out in its effectiveness to do damage or to use AP bombs. And then finally, we've got the Midway, which is a 222. And some people are like, I'm having flashbacks of the dominant Midway. And the Midway was literally the most powerful ship in the game when it had a 222, or what was it, a 221, or maybe a 122? Either way, it had 2 torpedo squadrons. Way back, I think a year and a half ago at this point, it was deadly. Everything was dead in one attack run. So what they're going to do is they're just going to lower the tier of the tier 10 aircraft for the Midway to, I believe, a tier 9 or a tier 8. So it'll work kind of like the Enterprise, where it's one tier lower than its comparable competition. But because it's a high tier, you can still improve the health of the aircraft, and it's not going to give up that much, honestly. It will absolutely be wiped out to fully dedicated or layered AA, but everything gets wiped out to that. This is not going to address the core issues with the aircraft carrier design. You know, the lack of consistent play from game to game. You've got, if you're max tier, if you're the high tier aircraft carrier, you're super dominant. If you're bottom tier, you're lucky if you get some aircraft through, right? It's extremely on a knife's edge. And that's just not fun to play. So they have to address that. And we've got some of the UI stuff. We've got the way everything works, you know, the spotting mechanics, how aircraft carriers are just so dominant in keeping the destroyer spotted. You get the idea. So all of that will be addressed, and hopefully in 2018. They are saying they absolutely want it all done, and they want the aircraft carrier to be a viable pick and not to break the game or not to be just completely irrelevant, right? They want it to be as competitive as the other types, and they want everyone to at least try them. And, you know, some people are just they're just gonna get wiped out because someone's more experienced, right? It's just so competitive. It's literally 1 versus 1, and if you get matched up with, you know, a femme, she's gonna crush my hopes and dreams. But U.S. aircraft carrier change, fantastic. It's a good, welcome change. It's only making them better, and they needed it. U.S. cruiser line, we've got a mix of light and heavy right now, and it's going to be split to heavy and light, with the Cleveland getting upgraded back to its former glory, which will be fantastic, and I can't wait. We're also going to be getting a lot of equipment in the light cruiser line. So you'll have a lot of choices: radar, hydroacoustic, defensive fire. I think I heard some super high tier might have smoke. Obviously you have to choose between this stuff, so there's that. But I'm excited for the possibility that it could rebalance the American cruiser line and actually make them play, you know, fairly well. There's obviously really great American cruisers, but there's a lot of really meh American cruisers too. So, we'll see. We've also got the Roma, which is going to be a Tier 8 premium Italian battleship. And it looks great. It looks to be sort of a glass cannon battleship where it has probably one of the highest damage potentials with its gun systems and all that stuff. But if it takes damage, it's going to take damage. It can't mitigate it like some battleship lines. We've got the Duke of York, which is just another premium Tier 7 King George with slightly altered loadout. Or maybe it's just easy to make. Let's be real, people. When they're working on the Pan-Asians, working on the French, they're going to release some premiums that are just slightly different from the mainline. You know, Missouri's slightly different from the Iowa. And it was sufficient enough to justify its existence. I don't know that the Massachusetts is sufficient enough difference to the Alabama, but we'll see. It is a Tier 7 premium for the Brits, and they have a ton of that. So yeah, and then the French battleships are starting to show up, which is cool. We'll see how close that comes. You know, maybe early 2018 we'll get to actually play them. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.